Welcome to the video series, an introduction to using Microsoft Teams, brought to you by Progressive Computing, Inc. Part 15, Guest Access, and the bonus is SharePoint. Giving access to files within Teams to external users is a convenient way to collaborate with others. Before I begin, though, I must caution you to proceed carefully, as we don't want to expose sensitive data to the wrong people. Always consult with management on organizational policy and IT on best practices before you share files externally, and know that some system policies may prevent you from sharing files externally. There are two ways we can share files, either by granting guest access through Teams or by using something called SharePoint. Let's have a look at both. In this example, I created a team called PCI Guests. Under the three-dot menu, I am going to select Manage Team. In an earlier video, I covered how to add owners and members, but now we're going to add a guest. I can select Add Member, then type an external email address. Teams recognizes this email as external, so it will treat it and classify it as a guest and not a member or an owner. The recipient will get an email that looks like this. The Open Microsoft Teams link embedded in that email will now allow that external user to see all channels and folders within that team. Now, this guest option is only available at the team level, so be careful because they'll see everything within that team. But with careful planning and consideration, this can be an extremely powerful, useful, secure way if you structure it correctly. For example, you can create a team called Annual Gala, then invite your outsourced marketing people, a photographer, the caterer, your web developer, and many more to all collaborate on all files within this team. But I wouldn't do the same for your finance team, so be smart about it. A different and more granular way to share just a folder or even just a file is by using something called SharePoint. There is some market confusion between Teams and SharePoint. For the purposes of this video series and to keep things simple, Teams and SharePoint are really the same thing. Now that's an oversimplification. SharePoint is a powerful and complex cloud storage and collaboration system, and really so much more. And Teams is just a really nice user-friendly interface that sits on top of this powerful SharePoint database. Think of them as two different programs accessing that same database. Teams is the simple program that covers 98% of what 98% of people need to accomplish, while SharePoint is for the more specific advanced users with special or specific needs. Even as a power user, I do not find myself using SharePoint frequently. In this simulation, I will use SharePoint to share just a single file. Locate any folder you want to share, place a check mark next to it, and select the Open in SharePoint button at the top of the screen. A browser will open this folder in SharePoint. Here I placed a check mark next to the last file, an MP4 video. Here I placed a check mark next to the last file, an MP4 video. Then I select the Share option on the top horizontal menu. The Send Link window appears. At the top, click the link where it says People in your organization, whatever your organization name is. Here, in this example, it says Progressive Computing. In the Link Settings window, select Specific People and decide if you want them to edit the file or not with the Allow Editing checkbox. You can even block downloads if you removed editing. Click Apply when done. Now, type the address or addresses of the external people along with a quick note as you see I've typed in the middle of the screen. Hi, please edit this file as you wish, or just watch it, whatever. And then when you're done, click Send. The external party will then get an email with instructions on how to open this file. Teams Guest Access and SharePoint are two very powerful ways to collaborate with trusted external parties. Remember, always consult with management on your company policy, as well as IT on best practices for creating shared spaces. There are never any silly questions when it comes to security, so be safe and not sorry.